Welcome back, pollinator pals. Beth here in the pollinator exhibit at Como Park Zoo and Conservatory. And thanks to the Legacy Amendment, I'm bringing to you one last episode about our pollinators and what you can do to help. We've been talking throughout this season about the different pollination stories and even about local pollinators who need our assistance today and the different ways that we can take action. But it's time for us to bring this all together into one last reminder that we can make a difference, because every action we're taking is going to help them out. And considering that pollinators are responsible for 1 in every 3 bites of food that we're taking, it's really important for us to help them out. So let's start by taking a look at some of the things you can do. First off, you can see here in our pollinator garden some enormous lush blooms. It's almost like a tropical paradise, but these are flowers that you can grow in your own backyard. I kind of want to crawl into them. They remind me a little bit of like the other side might have Narnia. Looks very exciting. It might look big and feral and wild, but it's also beautiful and festive and bright and a diverse array of plants for our pollinators to enjoy. In your backyard, consider plantings that go all the way through the growing season, from early spring when pollinators need their snacks the most, all the way through the fall season. Just because summer's coming to an end and we've gotten our first waft of cool air and pumpkin spice doesn't mean that it's over. We can still plant lots of beautiful blooms. And if you don't have time to garden at this time of year, things are a little chaotic, consider some potted plants that you could add to your backyard that are still blooming and could give pollinators that extra last season rush that they need to prepare for the winter season. You could also consider how you manage your brush and your lawn throughout the year and as we get into the fall season. There are lots of things you can do, and I'm really excited about most of these gardening tips because, well, I've been trying to learn a lot about great gardening skills from our amazing horticulturists. I've also been having to admit that I'm still kind of gardening in a Hunger Games style, where I release plants out into the garden, wish them luck, and I see who made it. That's unfortunately my gardening skill set. The good news is even these pollinator skills are actually going to be working for my gardening skills, which is really exciting. Instead of mowing your lawn all the time, really regularly, perhaps consider not mowing it as often, letting that grass get longer, or better yet, plant one of those bee lawns. It requires minimal maintenance. It needs less water, less cutting, less time. It's also really beautiful and great for pollinators. Sounds like a win-win in my book. And there's lots of great grant opportunities to help you connect your lawn to pollinators, which is pretty cool. You could also consider how you remove that brush at the end of the season. As you're raking or removing sticks from your yard, perhaps consider not raking as much or leaving a patch where wild stuff can continue. Leave a few snags, some dead wood, leave some piles of leaves somewhere on the ground. Lots of our pollinators, from bees to moths, will use that as an overwintering space for themselves or for their pupa so that they can survive the cold winter. I like a nice snug warm blanket in the winter, and it sounds like bees agree. You can also help, we have some cool bugs flying by, which is pretty great. You can also help by how you prune. So if you're going to be pruning in the fall season here, instead of removing all of the dead plants that might be in your yard, these are all beautiful and alive, so I don't want to cut too much just yet. But as these start to die off, it could look a little unsightly to some people, a little wild. I like to think of it as like early Halloween decoration, a little spooky, a little festive. But instead of cutting it all the way down to the ground, perhaps consider just trimming along the tops, leaving stems for some of our stem resting bees to have a safe place to live during the winter time. It's really important. If we remove all that brush, we remove their homes. And when we remove the homes for pollinators, we remove the pollinators. And we need those guys, both for our flowers, our food, and for little flying friends, which is pretty cool. So there's lots of ways we can help. We can basically garden by being a little lazier, which honestly sounds like a win-win again in my book. You can plant plants that are going to grow throughout the season, let them stay until the next spring, and if possible, continue this planting with native plants and cool additions. Those will help promote your native ecosystems And if you plant a diverse enough array, you'll get a diverse array of pollinators. And by having that diversity, we are more resilient to disease, to drought, to all sorts of different threats that our plants in our community might be facing. So we can really make a difference in our own backyards every single day. We can also look into some of our other future decisions that we can make. If you happen to have made a bee house for bees and you're preparing to winterize it for the season, remember to bring it inside and clean it out. Bees are very vulnerable to funguses and bacteria and parasites, and it's really important for us to get those nice and thoroughly clean. Just like I like to live in a clean home, even though it can sometimes be hard to remember to pick up everything. It's really, really important to help out these little guys and keep it clean for the next generation of bees moving in. We don't want them to get sick because they wouldn't be around. We also can help out by, in the future, reducing our use of pesticides or certain fertilizers to help keep our insect friends safe and healthy, and to keep our ecosystem safe and healthy. What's more is we can take that step even further in how we choose to make purchases, voting with our dollar to help protect insects and pollinators all over the world. There's a lot of impact that we can make, and you can start in your own garden, but it doesn't have to stop there. Now, if you're wanting to learn more about pollinators, we're going to have some great resources on our website that you can find how you can help pollinators in your backyard and beyond. And I encourage you to check it out. You can also swing by and make a reservation in advance to visit the Como Park Zoo and Conservatory to check out our pollinators and more. We'd love to see you here, and we'd love to see even more you connect to pollinators in your own neighborhood. Thanks so much for listening, and stay tuned for other great episodes with Como.